Good morning students, welcome to another session on excretory system. In this session I will be dealing with the internal structure of the kidney. Before I start with, I want to stress upon one point which was taught in the last session, that is ADH. ADH stands for antidiuretic hormone. This hormone will be secreted by the posterior lobe of the pituitary gland, and the production of this hormone is very necessary because it controls the water balance in the body. It maintains the water balance in the body. If the production of ADH is reduced, then the formation or secretion of the urine will be more, and the content of the food which increases the urine secretion in the body, we call them as diuresis. Now let us continue with the internal structure of the kidney. You may expect a 5-mark question from this particular concept of internal structure of the kidney. So be careful and be little vigilant on what I am teaching now. So this is the longitudinal section of the kidney. What you see on the board is the longitudinal section of the kidney. When we talk about the sections of the kidney, we can classify it into two types. One is longitudinal section and other is cross section. Now what is longitudinal section? If we dissect any specimen vertically, the section what we call it as longitudinal section, and if we dissect any specimen horizontally, that is across, the section what we get, we call it as cross section. So one is longitudinal section and another is cross section. Now continuing with, when we see the longitudinal section of the kidney, we can see two major parts of the kidney, that is outer cortex and inner medulla. When we see the longitudinal section of the kidney, we can see two major parts. One is outer cortex and inner medulla. Inside the medulla, you can see some pyramidal shaped structure. If you observe here, you can see some pyramidal shaped structure which is having a striped structure here, and we call it as medullary pyramids. Here the enlarged portion which emerges out of the kidney, that is the hilum region, we call it as pelvis, and pelvis will be supported by the conducting ducts of the kidney, and you will know what is the conducting ducts in the further classes. Now the renal artery brings in the blood which is oxygenated, and when the blood once enters into the kidney, the purification of the blood takes place, that is the removal of the waste material and excess water from the blood. Now how this particular purification of the blood takes place and in which part of the kidney the purification of the blood takes place, the answer is nephron. So nephron is a microscopic structure which will be found inside the kidney, and this nephron is considered to be the functional unit of the kidney. Nephrons are considered to be the functional unit of the kidney because the formation of urine takes place in nephron itself, and hence nephron is also known as uriniferous tubule. As the formation of the urine takes place in this part of the kidney, that is the nephron, it is also known as uriniferous tubule. Now let us see the structure of the kidney. Now when I talk about the structure of the kidney, be attentive. I will now classify or divide the structures of the nephron. And now let us see the structure of the nephron, not kidney. Now let us see the structure of the nephron. When I talk about the structure of the nephron, for your convenience, I will divide the structure now like Malpighian tubule, proximal convoluted tubule or PCT, loop of Henle's, and distal convoluted tubule and the collecting duct. Once again I repeat, Malpighian tubule, proximal convoluted tubule, loop of Henle's, distal convoluted tubule and collecting ducts. Now let us see what is Malpighian tubule. Before that, you have to know two important words. One is Bowman's capsule. One is Bowman's capsule glomerulus. I repeat, the important part of the nephron or the starting initial part of the nephron will consist of Bowman's capsule and glomerulus. This Bowman's capsule and glomerulus is together known as Malpighian tubule. Now let us see what is Bowman's capsule. Bowman's capsule is a cup-shaped structure. Bowman's capsule is a cup-shaped structure which consists of knot of capillaries called glomerulus. I repeat, Bowman's capsule is the cup-shaped structure which consists of knot of capillaries. The knot of capillaries, and those knot of capillaries are known as glomerulus, and these two structures together is known as Malpighian tubule. I repeat, this part Malpighian tubule, they may ask for you for 1 or 2 marks to draw the neat diagram or label diagram of the Malpighian tubule. They will not ask separately that Bowman's capsule or glomerulus. They will just ask, draw the neat label diagram of Malpighian tubule. Then you should be able to draw this diagram. And here the knot of the capillaries majorly consist of 2 main parts. One is afferent arteriole and efferent, efferent arteriole. This is glomerulus and this is Bowman's capsule. What is the action function of this? We will understand in the later classes. Next is the proximal convoluted tubule or PCT. Proximal convoluted tubule or PCT. So, convolution, you all know this structure. This structure is exact structure in this particular part. We call this as convolutions. I think you have come across the term convolution in the brain also. So, this part of the kidney is known as convoluted, and as it is present in the beginning of the nephron, we call it as proximal convoluted, and it is a tube-like structure, so we call it as proximal convoluted tubule. So, proximal convoluted tubule leads to a straight structure which is just bent, a U-shaped structure, and this structure we call it as loop of Henle's. Loop of Henle's. So, when we talk about the proximal convoluted tubule, one question may be asked in this section, that is, why the kidney have dotted structure on the cortex. When we closely observe the structure of the cortex of kidney, we can see the dotted appearance on the kidney, and this is because the proximal convoluted tubule and the Bowman's capsule, are in the cortex, means the position of these two structures are in the cortex part of the kidney, and the presence of these two structures give it its dotted appearance. Once again I repeat, why the cortex of kidney have the dotted appearance on it? The answer is due to the presence of PCT, that is proximal convoluted tubule, and the Bowman's capsule. Another question they might ask, write the exact location of PCT or Bowman's capsule, then you should be able to write, that is cortex. Now, leading from the proximal convoluted tubule, there is a bell-shaped structure where we don't find any convolution, and this part of the kidney is known as loop of Henle's. And the question related to this part is to write the exact location of loop of Henle's, and you should be writing the answer medulla. That is, loop of Henle's lies in the medullary region of the kidney. Leading from the loop of Henle's, again we see the convolution, and as this convolution lies at the distant end or the end region of the nephron, we call it as distal convoluted tubule. So here they will ask for the question exact location and also why there is dotted appearance. On kidney. Sorry, cortex of kidney. So loop of Henle's, this is the region which extends from the proximal convoluted tubule and it lies in the medullary region of the kidney, and also extending from this we have the distal convoluted tubule, and the distal convoluted tubule leads to the collecting duct. So once the formation of the urine takes place in the kidney, the urine will be sent to the collecting duct, then that is the last part of the nephron. So when we talk about the structure of the nephron, we have glomerulus, Bowman's capsule, afferent arteriole, efferent arteriole, proximal convoluted tubule. I told as it is in the beginning of the structure, we call it as proximal, means initial. It leads to the loop of Henle's which lies in the medullary region of the kidney. Leading again, loop of Henle's leads to distal convoluted tubule, and distal convoluted tubule is attached to a collecting duct. Next we will see. Now let us see how blood supply to the kidney tubules. That is how the blood enters into the nephron. Here tubule means now you should know that we spoke in just few minutes back. I told you about the different tubules, that is Malpighian tubule, proximal convoluted tubule, distal convoluted tubule, and the collecting ducts. Now let us see how the blood supply to the kidney tubules. Now you have to understand the blood enters especially into the kidney through a artery known as renal artery. So renal artery brings in the oxygenated blood to the kidney. Once the renal artery enter into the kidney, it starts to branch, rebranch, and it forms a fine thread-like capillaries. And you already know what are the capillaries. So it forms the capillaries, and these capillaries enters into the nephron in the form of glomerulus. So when we talk about the structure, once again, just check this out. This is the Bowman's capsule. So this is the afferent arteriole which enters into the Bowman's capsule and form the glomerulus, and again it emerges out. So these two structure you should be careful about now. One of the structure is known as afferent arteriole, and this is known as efferent arteriole. So what is the difference here is afferent arteriole is the arteriole which enters into the nephron, whereas the efferent arteriole is the arteriole which emerges out of the nephron. So when it is entering in, it is bringing in the blood which is full of waste now, and when it emerges out, it will be pure. So this afferent arteriole brings in the blood which will be impure. In terms it will be carrying excess of water, glucose, some salt materials, and this emerges out from the glomerulus as efferent arteriole, and this efferent arteriole again reunites and form the renal vein. This efferent arteriole after reuniting forms the renal vein. So this renal vein now which comes out of the Bowman's capsule, efferent arteriole which comes out of the Bowman's capsule, it reunites and forms the renal vein, and now renal vein will be carrying the pure blood, and in terms of carbon dioxide it will be deoxygenated. When you check your textbook, in the one of the diagram they have given for the renal vein as pure blood. So please don't get confused. Renal vein carries pure pure blood when it comes out of the kidney in terms of excess of water, means it will be purified of excess of water or unwanted salts, but it will be carrying the deoxygenated blood, that is the carbon rich blood. And in terms of renal heart rate, that is the blood which enters in, it will be oxygenated, but it will be termed as impure as it contains the unwanted waste. So I hope you all have understood this session. In the next session, I will be briefing you about the different stages involved in the purification of the blood or in the formation of the urine. Thank you.